Hi there. In this video I'll be showing you how you can automate a Git pull using GitHub's webhooks. The idea is that once you push code directly to your GitHub repository, if you have a server, the Git pull call will be invoked automatically. I will be demonstrating this using an Nginx server. Now there are some prerequisites you will need. First one is access to a server terminal. In this case it needs to be Nginx. Make sure all the dependencies are installed like Nginx. Make sure you have all the certificate for your HTTPS, Ubuntu or any other operating system you're running on the server. The next thing you will need is a GitHub repository, that is the code that you are hosting your site or application on. You will also need a shell script file that will have the code that calls the git pull, and you can also have a log file. This is optional, it's not required. This is if you want to keep track. I will suggest it as it helps in debugging. The next thing you have to make sure is that you are using HTTPS and not HTTP. HTTP call will not run. You will face something called a CORS error. That is a security error. So just a regular HTTP call will not work. And the other reason why to use HTTPS is for security reasons. Okay, now when you are using Node.js for this one, you'll have to make sure that these two packages are installed. One is Express and the other one is .env. I'll explain .env why. Express allows for HTTP calls to a Node file. So in this code, as you can see, we are first naming all our Express exec path and .env thing. So skipping the app.use part and going to app.post, that is line 32. Over here first we have the /mylibg. This is our URL that the GitHub will be using to post something. So as you can see, after that sh, so we are calling the shell script path, and below that is just error handling. So if console.log status, this is all irrelevant, but keep it, it helps in debugging. Then at the end we just have an app.listen. I have taken port 6004. It can be anything. Server can have any ports, just don't use port 80 or 443 as you don't want a conflict. And also make sure that if you are using multiple Node.js files, the ports are different, otherwise you will have something called added-in-use error. So that is that. Now an app.use, as you can see from line 14, this is for the security part in the webhook that I'll explain in a second. Now let's look at the GitHub part of this. So in your GitHub repository, click on settings, then on the left side click on webhooks, then you click on add webhook. You will then see three fields, payload URL, content type and secret. Below that you will see SSL verification, that is on by default, it will be like that. Then we have our event that triggers a webhook. It's set to push the event, let it stay like that. The payload URL will have our HTTPS URL, and the word after the slash is what helps us trigger it and what helps us identify this URL. Content type is irrelevant, just set it to JSON. The secret is an authentication method that GitHub will use so that nobody else can use this and trigger any unwanted event. You can leave it empty if you want, but good practices, you would need to use a secret. Just take any password, and that app.use which we had, that is what is verifying this. To verify this, what we are doing is we are storing this in an environment variable on our Nginx. If you are unsure of how to do it, you can Google it. It's a simple thing, it's not that complicated. After you set all of that up, click on add webhook, and it will send a ping payload. It will most likely come as an error, as you might have not set up things up. That's not a issue. Now let's see the next setting, that is the server block. How do we set that up? Okay, now just in case you are unsure of what to search for environment variables, here's what you're going to want to do. you type sudo nanos /etc/environment. This will create an environment variable file. If it is not existing, it will be created, don't worry. Now since you will have multiple environment variables, what you want to do is you want to put export before each and one of them. So we are export passkey, that is our variable, and the value is password, that will be our password. So this is the syntax for that. Export variable name equal to, in quotes, make sure your value is, whether it's a numerical value or any alphanumerical value, let be in quotes. After that you want to save that file, and for it to make change, for it to be changed, you want to do sudo reboot. This will reboot the whole system. You will be logged out of your terminal. After about 5 to 10 seconds, log back in, and how you want to check is you're going to want to type echo followed by the dollar symbol and the variable name. I'll show that in a second. Here is an example of the environment variables I have stored. So as you can see, I have one called path, that is storing a path of something, and the next one is mylib git key. This is the key that I'm using for this project example. So I have some value, I've blurred it out obviously for privacy reasons. As you can see here, I have tested whether or not the variable is present. Like I said, echo followed by space, then $sign variable name. So you can see here that there is a value. I've blurred out half of it so that you can see at least some of it exists. Now let's move on to the server block. Now let's look at the server block. Server block is the part that will be telling the URL where the file we are looking for exists. So as you can see, this is your regular server block. This is the default up to location, and after that is the one that is the important one. So this one we will be specifying under what pretense to redirect it to our node file. So the first 4 lines are all basic, it's the last 2 lines that are important, and after location / mylibg, that word over there is important. So as you can see in the last 2 lines, localhost 6004 mylibg, 6004 is the port I am using currently. You can use any port, just make sure it doesn't clash with anything else, so use that. After that, the mylibg, this is what our node.js file is listening to. If you check the code, it will be written over there. Mylibg, you'll be looking for that exact word, then only it will be accepted, and the node will be executed. The node.js file will be executed. One more thing you're going to want to make sure is that you have your HTTPS set up for this domain. As you can see in the bottom of the image, it says listen 443 SSL. This code manages our HTTPS, meaning any HTTP call or any HTTP URL will be directly redirected to a HTTPS site. This is for security reasons. So make sure this exists. If it does not exist in the same server block, make sure it is specified somewhere else, but ensure that for this domain your HTTPS is clearly mentioned. If you are unsure of where the server block is located in Nginx, the location I've written it over there. It's located at /etc/nginx/sites enabled. In this sites enabled directory, it can be in either of 2 locations. One is in default, that is if you have not changed the server block file when you have set up Nginx, or if it's under another name, it'll be under that. So that's why your server block is located. Make sure this code is over there. Now let's just take a quick look at a shell script code. This is very important as this is what is performing the action of our git pull. So the first line is just a comment, don't worry about that. The next one is our log file. As I mentioned, you can keep a log file if you want to. If you don't, it's not an issue. Next is current time, that is for our log file, again not irrelevant. Now the next 2 lines are what is important. So my files are currently stored in a directory called mylib. So I'm gonna use the wording cd dot slash mylib. I'm using dot so that it starts from the beginning. So it doesn't matter where your node is stored or where the shell script file is stored. This will just start from the root directory or the beginning directory, and wherever your directory is stored, file directory, it'll go over there. The next one is our sudo git pull, and the last one is just logging our pull, so that again, if there's any issues or if we just want to keep track, that's what this is. It's simple, there's nothing more to it. This is all that is needed. Now an important thing is that since your shell script file is going to be performing an execution and also going to be writing, what you're going to want to do is you want to give it the correct permissions. So as you can see over here, we have kept sudo chmod plus x file.sh. That's your file name, don't put file. And then sudo chmod plus w file.sh, and then sudo chmod 755 file.sh. You can either perform the first two chmod things, or you can perform the last one. X and W essentially stand for execution and writing. 755 just gives it all the permissions. You can perform either the first two or the last one, or all of them, just to be on the safe side. But just make sure the permissions are there, meaning you perform these definitely. Now let me show you a live demo of this. So as you can see, on the right we have our code and on the left we have our site. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the text in the button over here. So I'm going to change go to site right now. So I'll select it and I'm going to change it to open the sites. Okay, I've saved it. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to commit and push it. I'm just going to put today's date as a message. This is a VS Code extension. You can look for git dot and extensions if you ever wanted about it. Now it's pushed. Now all we need to do is just reload the page. Alright, so I'm now on the page. I'm just going to go and reload it right now, and you'll see that the button value will change to open to sites. That's how it's done. It's that easy, it's that simple. I didn't have to do any terminal commands, git push, any git commit, because of all these steps that we have done using the node file and the shell script file. That is all is needed. You don't need to do anything else. It is very simple and very easy. So that'll be all for this video. It's a very easy process. It's simple. Don't panic. Just use a little bit of common sense and it'll happen very easily. As you can see, we are not using any complex API call or any complex code. It is just simple logic. If you have any questions or running into any issues, you can drop a comment. I'll try to reach out and help you as much as I can. You can also contact me via Twitter, or you can even drop me a mail. I'll try to help as much as possible. The documentation for all of this is in the description. It's in my blog. You can check it out if you don't feel like watching the video. The code for all of this, whatever I've shared, small snippets, it's in a Google Drive link that is also in the description. You can check it out. It's the same code, nothing different. So thank you for watching and good luck.